up the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading about.
It's showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
What's up, guys? Howdy, howdy, hey. It's that time again. Why do you always make a face?
Howdy, howdy, hey.
Man, you say shit at the beginning of the show for a change.
Are you Curtis from Blues Brothers now?
I might be.
Howdy, howdy, ho.
Howdy, 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 hey, man.
Yeah.
What's going on, dude? It's driving Speakerbox. It's Monday night. I'm producing again in the studio today. The producer had a bicycle accident or something.
Oh,
and
what?
I mean, he's okay. He's just like sore. And I think the real reason is it's the Succulent 8 basketball game or whatever they calling it. It was like Sweet 16.
Oh.
And then, like, you know, the full 8 or what? I don't know these dumb sports acronyms, but them Hogs is playing here in about an hour right at the end of our show, and he's watching the game. I know everybody's watching the game, so if you're watching the podcast right now or listening to it, we really appreciate you guys signing in, even though it is in the middle of March Madness. And as always, welcome to the show. I'm the boom operator, your host.
I'm the Grip.
And we've got an hour of talking movies. We're going to talk about the new movie that's in theaters this week, Nobody. We've got movies coming out next week that are new. They're only in theaters. That's pretty interesting. I got a message from one of our viewers. Old Johnny Dalton was saying, like, well, I don't like not having movies in theaters because I have a baby now and I don't want to go to the theater. And it's like, well, tough titties. You're going to have to get a sitter and enjoy Dad's night out. And go check that out. Little news from Vince in the comments about Fast 9. Oh, good Lord. Shout out to Counterexample over there on Twitch. Garrett tuning in on Facebook. What's up, Vern? Complimenting Jake's mustache and my awesome plaid. If you guys want to get into the chat, you can do so live on our Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or Twitch, which is live as well. You can join into all the fun right there. If you're just downloading the MP3 wherever you get MP3s, you can continue to do that too. That's great. That's fine. That's excellent. News have happened. What's up? Shout outs to Cosmic Drew, one of our actual tenants in our building here, which is pretty cool. Fun times right downstairs. I'm gonna give him a little stomp down there and say howdy. But it's been another week. Some stuff's happening in the theaters. There's new movies coming out. Grip saw Nobody. We're gonna be talking about that.
I did. I
later in the
saw
show.
2 movies. Yeah.
In the theater.
I saw 1 in the theater, but that's because 1 was not offered in the United States as a theatrical release.
Oh, you saw some foreign films this week?
I did see a foreign film. Yeah, it's a Hayya original, which you can get through Amazon Prime if you so wish, or do like I did and just pay $5 to rent the movies.
Just check it out. Just rent it once, one and doneer.
I do kind of want Hayya because it has a lot of really cool movies on there.
Somebody said I had the ASMR, and that's just because I'm loud and my voice is sexy. That's just, you know, a lot of people like they think I sound different. Our mics are at the same settings, but it's just the way I sound, man. I just got the ASMR voice.
You have mine where it sounds like I'm on helium or something like that, probably.
Oh yeah, hang on, helium button, beep. Yeah, that's. I got that sitting.
You messed it up, and now I sound like this.
Fast and the Furious.
Speaking of movie news, let's cover some of the stuff that happened over the week before we start getting into movies that we saw. Did you see the new Guy Ritchie movie trailer?
I did. What's it called? It's called
The Wrath of Man.
Yeah.
Which I mean,
write that
it's
down.
like Guy Ritchie.
Right there.
Jason Statham, one less job meets John Wick. And
it looks so cool though.
It honestly, you know, for a Guy Ritchie movie and a Jason Statham like one last job platform vehicle, I'm kind of okay with it because it had Josh Hartnett in it, and Josh Hartnett. So
I don't remember seeing him in the trailer.
he was one of the security guards that's like the regular Joe that's doing, you know, this job's not so hard. And then he's like, who is this dude? But Josh Hartnett, like, one of the things a lot of people don't know about Josh Hartnett, he doesn't take any project. He's kind of really picky and choosy about it. He's like, I want it to be fun. I want it to, you know.
Because he did that movie with Harrison Ford and everyone hated him. So he's like, maybe I should pay more attention to what movies I do.
Well, he stepped out of Hollywood for a long time because he didn't want
It was right after that movie.
Pretty much. And he just didn't, you know, he wasn't feeling the celebrity. But I enjoy Josh Hartnett. I think he's just a talented guy. And, you know, I think he's
talented guy.
He's not in any foreign films that I watch, but you know, I think I like movies that have Josh Hartnett. He's always in good, fun caper movies. If you've never seen Lucky Number 11, it's a really fun, you know, the classic Double Cross, which of course Guy Ritchie movies. You know, the old Rick and Morty episode of the heist movie Planet or whatever. I mean, it's
son of a bitch, I'm in.
Son of a bitch, I'm in. But that's every Guy Ritchie movie known to man. So
old Josh Hartnett's a real
he's an
up and comer.
Well, he up and came, and
book.
then he and you know, you occasionally see him here now, sometimes. But anyway, yeah, I thought the trailer looked pretty fun. You know, it's pretty paint by numbers, but there's going to be a double cross twist plot.
Well,
it's Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, I mean, it looks a lot like that movie that has Ice Cube's son in it, and who was the other main character? They do they steal all that money and they do the armored cars and Scottish guy that you don't like, Gerard Butler. Has Gerard Butler in it?
Yeah,
it looks kind of like that, but also
that
like the movies with The Rock, and he's trying to get his little brother back or whatever. I don't know. It's like a revenge movie wrapped in a heist movie.
And I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it looks really fun.
Say what you will about heist movies, they tend to be a bit formulaic, but they're fun. They're fun.
Johnny said that Charlotte Flair is going to star in a new Walking Tall movie. I hope that's not real. I hope that's not true. That would be awful. Den of Thieves. That's the movie I was thinking of. Thanks, Vince.
My chair is just not cooperating today. Yeah, so let's see. Vern in the comments on Facebook said, I heard Josh Hartnett's going to play Macho Man Randy Savage in a new WWE made-for-TV movie. The Macho Man.
Not bad.
Do you know? Do you know anything about this? You're
No.
a resident WW person.
I don't know anything.
FCW.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it.
Well, Vern stumped us on some wrestling knowledge. Oh yeah, snap into him. I don't know. But yeah, did you also see, you know, we were kind of talking about it a little bit the other day, and I don't know if we ever talked about it on the show, but the new Suicide Squad trailer.
I did. I sent it to you, remember?
No, I mean, did we talk about it on the show?
No, we haven't. No.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
It came out after we did the show.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So a new Red Band trailer for the new Suicide Squad movie headed by James Gunn, who, you know, almost got canceled there for a while from
some tweets.
Yeah, but he's back in action making Suicide Squad for everyone. And honestly, the trailer worked, and they're letting him do rated R, which I think is necessary for this sort of vehicle. They're going
villain movie probably works better that way. Yeah,
Deadpool meets Guardians of the Galaxy, and they're going, let's just get a whole team of Deadpools and make dick and fart jokes and have King Shark eat a bunch of people, which I'm kind of here for that. I think that's kind of cool because, dude, King Shark. If you're ever going to put King Shark in a movie, the time is now. We have the technology. And some of the scenes of King Shark ripping people apart and eating people, is pretty awesome.
Yeah, but you can get that in Justice League Dark.
Yeah, but it's animated, and it's this
not
looks
the same.
and didn't like Constantine and King Shark kind of have a little weird.
They said that Constantine used to. Yeah,
I used to fool around with King Shark.
Mm-hmm.
But
that version of King Shark. There's so many different.
There's
ones,
a bunch of them. But the trailer, I mean, it looked kind of fun. It's just same Guardians of the Galaxy classic rock playlist, like wisecracking, quippy anti-heroes that are just like, ragtag bunch of Doom Patrollers going out and doing Guardians of the Galaxy stuff. And
But we watched Justice League Zack Snyder cut the other day and made a comment about a specific villain that would be fun to see in live action. And we were like, well, that'll never happen. They'll never do live action. But this trailer brought that big time DC villain and showed him in action.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of very excited about that. I don't know how the Suicide Squad's going to take down this particular villain, but who knows?
Hey, and I honestly, I think that, it's interesting to see James Gunn switch from Marvel to DC, and bringing something to DC that he created for Marvel, that Marvel's been running with ever since. Like, all the new Marvel movies have followed this James Gunn sort of stylized way of doing a superhero movie. Now, if we could get James Gunn to pilot a Tick live action.
No, don't do that to the Tick.
No, I'm just saying, finally, like, he's been borrowing from the Tick since the get-go, and just do Tick. And if you're gonna make every other show into the Tick, then just do the Tick. Don't let Tick like get buried in the shadows of all these other ragtag bunches of silly heroes that are borrowing from Ben Edlund. Like, come on, man, just do it.
Vern says he's excited to see John Cena in Suicide Squad, and guess what? Because you want more James Gunn, and he's excited to see John Cena, we are guaranteed already. They've announced that there is a John Cena spinoff with James Gunn directing it for HBO Max, because part of Warner's head idea is that they're going to have something DC on every platform that intertwines in some way, being movies, TV, HBO, other services, animated and video games, and they're supposed to all tie in, which is why you get a lot of Injustice style things in the Snyder Cut movie and things like that, because they are trying to tie in everything to be related in some way. And they did also say that after Snyder Cut, there will no longer be any single voice or one person projects. Everything will always be a collaboration of many voices from this point forward. So don't get used to having nice things like the Snyder Cut, because they ain't doing it. Yeah.
That's just a bunch of covering their ass. It's like, in case people die in car crashes and we don't want to cast them anymore, someone gets canceled, then it's just like, well, hey, doesn't matter. This is how we're doing it. Johnny Dalton says Bobcat Goldthwait should voice Starro.
Hey! Oh, I can't do Bobcat.
Hey, I think that maybe I'll crush your city.
Yeah, just like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bobcat Gold. Sorry for everyone's ears on that one. Let's see. Logan over on YouTube says, "Woo pig." Shout outs to our
local sports.
Full 8. The game tonight. I don't know who we're playing. Our enemy sports team that we're going to defeat, I guess, tonight. In
what's the proper
combat
opponent?
What did I say?
Enemy sports team.
It is an enemy sports team. Sports have trained a generation or a society of people to be okay with violent hatred to your peers because they wear a different color than you. I think it's an unhealthy habit of sportsmanship. And so okay, it's Baylor. So go sports team. More points against Baylor. Woo pig. We're going to do it. And I will say that, I caught the tail end of the last game that we played against another enemy sports team in the Sweet 16, and it was pretty exciting games, pretty close game. And his sports can be fun sometimes. It's when you only watch them once every so often. But yeah, this is going to be intense. And actually, if you're living here in Northwest Arkansas, they're showing it at the stadium. So like, go ahead and pile in a stadium where there's around a court where no one's playing basketball and look at the screens of other people playing basketball, but you also can't drink beer, eat food. Like, why would you go do that? Like, I don't understand, but I don't know.
Back to things that we actually care about. Vince asked if I have been watching Young Rock, which I have. My parents, when I go see them, generally weekly, they keep an episode recorded and we all kind of watch it together. And I tell them the real story behind the episode that has a half truth to it, and that's always kind of fun.
The episodes,
yeah, which is fun to have real knowledge of the real stories or historical things that happen in wrestling, and then to see the TV portrayal of something that's already outrageous and larger than life and needs no embellishment or addition to it. And then it's worse to see the things that have been taken away to make it less interesting than what it actually was, but safe for TV audiences, I guess. But while we're talking about DC and Dwayne Johnson, he also announced today that Black Adam has been pushed back once again to summer of 22. So we won't get our anti-Shazam until next year.
Gonna have to keep waiting, which is pretty much the theme of the past 12 months of Hollywood. We're just gonna have to keep waiting. But things that we don't have to wait for anymore, as alluded to in the comments by Logan over on YouTube, Kong versus Zilla, that is coming out this weekend.
Actually, it's due out Wednesday, isn't it, on HBO? And then
theaters,
I don't know if it's
this
Wednesday or
not all
Friday.
theaters, or a lot of theaters like our AMC is only open Friday, Saturday, Sunday anyway. So you might have to wait to see it in the theater, but I recommend you go see it in the theater. Early reviews coming out are fairly positive, if not mediocre. I think that a lot of people have just been so deprived of seeing a movie on the big screen that they're just like, yo, dude, monsters punching each other, I'm here for it. And some of the reviews I've read, it's like, instead of developing old characters from the past several movies, they start trying to develop new characters, but they can't, and it's mostly a lot of fighting. So it's just pretty much just fighting.
You know what a King Kong and Godzilla movie don't fucking need?
Development.
Characters, especially when the only ones that you do make that people care about, like the one that Ken Watanabe played, you're like, and he's going to die in the dumbest way we can think of.
Didn't he go down into the ocean and nuclear his face off or something?
Yeah. He went to the nuclear zone at the bottom of the sea that had fairly modern katakana written on the walls, though it was supposed to be hundreds of millions of years old from civilizations unheard of. And then nuked himself to revive the Zilla.
And then they're going to be like, oh, Godzilla's like, we need him to get beat up by King Kong because reasons. It's coming out. I'm not super pumped about it. I don't know. But it's made a lot of money overseas already, into the hundreds of millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah. It opened in Britain and UK and stuff
China.
Like that
it just kicked butt in China.
Johnny asked wonders if Godzuki shows up. I said something about that on the last episode or two. But if Godzuki doesn't show up, I'll definitely be upset, because we had the King of Monsters and we did not get to see the Isle of Monsters or Godzuki, so don't know what the hell that's about. I guess when Space Godzilla shows up, that's when Godzuki can come around.
Godzuki's gonna be a cameo Easter egg that's just stupid. And kind of like how they set up Mothra in the last movie, and this movie has nothing to do with Mothra, where they're like, we must save Mothra, and everyone's like, oh shit, Mothra, and then this movie's like, what's a Mothra again? Where we were someone talking about that?
Yeah, there were no fairies in the last one.
Yeah, no one playing
very displeased
magic flutes in the ocean.
That there were no Eastern fairies to hang out with Mothra. I wanted that.
Everybody,
the Mothra movie is really good.
It is pretty good. Mothra. Is that how that song goes? I don't know. Anyway, but Godzilla vs. Kong is coming out in theaters this week, and it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens, because as vaccination rates are going up, people are going out. Theaters are starting to reopen. Movies like Godzilla are taking a chance on being open, and this could be a pivoting moment for theaters.
Yeah, actually, since you said something, come Friday, Regal Cinemas are opening 500 of their 549 theaters in the United States, with capacities ranging from 25 to 50%. So now that New York and LA are opened back up, and some of them are making their way up to around 50% at some locations, the two largest markets for theaters in the U.S., Regal's now going to open up again. And it helps that they signed a multi-year deal with Warner Media to have a... How many days is it? They have a 45-day exclusive deal.
Oh, yeah.
So Warner will not be able to put their media on any kind of streaming or VOD services for at least 45 days in the United States. However, overseas, that is shortened to 31 days unless the movie is doing well in the theater, in which case they will extend it to the 45. And this beats the deal that AMC and Cinemark have with Universal for being a 17-day exclusive. So Universal can release movies as soon as 2.5 weeks following its theatrical release for VOD and all of that stuff. But Warner, this doesn't go into effect until next year, though. Because Warner had already set up their same-day release schedule throughout the year for things like Wonder Woman, Godzilla vs. Kong, Mortal Kombat, and that other list of movies that didn't really seem to matter following that. So that is all something that is big news, because it's changing the way that movie theaters and the way that you see everything works, which we tell you about pretty much every episode anymore.
Vince said over on Twitch, he's like, not talking about theaters or anything, but if you go outside, people act like COVID is over.
Yeah,
says right
absolutely.
For a fourth wave. And that there's a lot of factors at play there. I for those of you that don't listen to the show very often, or maybe it's your first time, we don't really get paid for this or anything, but we have other jobs that we do. And I run a bar here, cocktail bar, pinball bar here in Northwest Arkansas called Pinpoint, and I get to see firsthand how many people have slowly started to just think that the pandemic is over. And that has a lot to do with leadership. It has a lot to do with policies, and that all varies state by state. Here in Northwest Arkansas, a lot of people, especially in my industry, are sitting here chewing our nails, seeing what's going to happen by Thursday, because Wednesday, I guess tomorrow, is when the mask mandate is probably going to be removed. And that means everybody's going to just go around going, I guess we don't have no rules no more. And, these are all very uninformed people generally. And it's just going to be, it's going to be weird. It's going to be a weird thing. And I think theaters, people that are working in theaters, this is like here in Arkansas, I kind of feel bad for them because they're opening up with Godzilla vs. Kong.
Well, but businesses still get to make their own rules.
Yeah, but let's get real. Like when businesses are making their own rules and someone's like, well, governor said I ain't got to, so eat a wiener. And, it's my right as a free American. Well, it's a private business and you don't have to be here. We can kick you out for any reason. I'm American, and I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, however I want, except for on my private property. If you come to my house and act like that, I'm going to shoot you. It's like, well, you're on my private property.
Entitled fuckwit.
All property's my property, and in my private property, my private property. And it's just, dude, the shit that we've had to deal with. And I feel real bad for a lot of our theater workers this weekend, right on the heels of a major movie release coming out. And they're like, oh my God, finally people might come in here and, but now they have no reason to follow the rules. Shit! And, it's going to be weird, guys. It's going to be so weird. So if you work in a theater, if you work in a bar, you work in a restaurant, you work in any place where people want to take their masks off, I feel bad for you, man. I'm here. My heart's going out to you. We're in this together. And I know Vern in the comments over on Facebook. I know he works in a cocktail bar up in Kansas City. So, shout outs to your weekend. I don't know how they're doing it up there in Missouri, but I know that it's a lot more relaxed than I think it is here in Arkansas, but we will see. And
yeah, Missouri has never had a statewide mandate, but certain cities like Springfield and others have had that for a while. So. Back to movies. Hey, the kind of things that people that act like that are into. Disney news. The Obi-Wan series just got a whole slew of new actors added to it,
and some old actors,
including Kumail Nanjiani. And
is he going to be like the funny?
They have not
tiny
said.
Alien. Wasn't he in another something?
He was in Men in Black
as a wisecracking.
He was in Men in Black.
Yeah, okay, that was a terrible character.
It was a bad movie.
Men in Black. What? 19?
3.
No, it was 4.
And then what's that Australian dude? I can't remember his name, but he played Uncle Owen, the young Owen in episodes 2 and 3. He's coming back, so he's almost guaranteed to be Uncle Owen again. And you'll see Obi-Wan on Tatooine. Go figure. That's where he ended at the end of episode 3, so I don't know why that's a surprise to anybody.
I haven't heard that name in a long
no
time.
Clue why it's news. Vince said Kumail Nanjiani is Jack now. Yeah, that's because he got cast in a Marvel movie, so he's sticking with Disney, getting involved in both of their big franchises there, and that is a great career move for him. Also, someone said something about the Oscars earlier. I think it was Vince saying it's the first time since he was young he's missed one of the Oscar nomination movies. But if you live in China or Hong Kong now, you don't get to watch the Oscars at all. Hong Kong just announced that they will be removing it from their television, and they definitely weren't pressured by mainland China or mainland China government. Not at all, even though the TV network that usually shows the Oscars is primarily owned by a company in mainland China, and there definitely isn't terrible things happening in that part of the world right now at all, and it has nothing to do with the fact that there was like a little 35-minute movie called
Move Along. Nothing
Do
to
Not
see here.
Split about Hong Kong pro-democracy, or that Chloe Zhao was that directed Nomadland. Had a couple of interviews where she said some unflattering things about that, but nothing to do with that. It's strictly a business choice.
Move along. These are not the excuses you're looking for.
And none of the other TV networks of Hong Kong decided that they wanted to pick it up either. Also strictly business choice. It just doesn't fit their schedule.
Yeah, it's just wouldn't be a good move. It just doesn't fit.
Yeah, how about that? Don't get to watch that in China. Not available to them. And then you know what? There's a whole bunch of DC Warner Media nonsense going on.
Tons.
With Ray Fisher and the heads of Warner.
Oh boy!
I told you about this a little bit. Have you seen some of this? I've
seen a little bit of it, but fill them in, Jake.
Just after our show last week, or even during, Ray Fisher came out with a bunch of tweets that all really continued and got real big on Tuesday, where he said, apparently some folks at Warner Media think that a room full of executives saying we can't have an angry black man at the center of our movie, and then reducing/removing all black and POC from that movie isn't racist. Odd. And then he just kind of went off for a while. Basically, he said that the investigator that Warner Brothers brought in was only there to protect them from legal repercussions. He said that he doesn't want people to single out Joss Whedon, which he was approached by heads of Warner Media to do, to single him out so that they could throw Whedon under the bus. But he said they also need to blame Toby Emmerich, who's the chairman of Warner Pictures Group, Jeff Johns, the former DC Entertainment president, who is also a comic author that's terrible. People like him, but he just recycled old ideas that never belonged to him in the first place. And John Berg, who's the former co-president of production. Now, Jeff Johns and John Berg both stepped down after Warner said that
they
there
threw
was
a smoke bomb on the floor and were like, "Ninja vanish!"
Well, because Warner said there was remedial action taken against unspecified individuals, which was probably them being like, "Hey, will you guys kind of just like."
Get out of here.
Change your title so that this will die down. But Ray Fisher's not letting that happen. He said it was primarily Jeff Johns who helped restructure the script with Whedon, and he also should share a big part of the blame, and that Warner CEO Ann Sarnoff is not a good person, because she recently had an interview where she said that Walter Hamada, the DC Films president, didn't have any animosity towards Ray Fisher. In fact, he even offered him a position on the Flash movie that he was fired from just a couple weeks ago, and that he is a person of color, so he knows exactly what it feels like to be in that kind of world in Hollywood, and Ray Fisher was not happy about that.
I would imagine not.
He said that was the absolute definition of tone deaf. But Fisher's accused Hamada of trying to destroy a black man's credibility and publicly delegitimize a very serious investigation with lies to the press. And that's just something he has not been happy about. So he's not a big fan of Hamada anyhow. And Hamada's the one that asked him to throw Joss Whedon and Berg under the bus, and he was like, no way. There's more of you to blame on this than that.
Go figure. A complete and total industry predicated upon telling stories is telling stories.
Yeah, and so Warner's statements on this is that none of our executives have ever lied or impeded investigations.
What? That's like their job.
And so Ray Fisher ended his tweets with, well, instead of saying what your investigations didn't find, how about you say what they did find? He is not happy about this. And in that Ann Sarnoff interview, she kind of talked about the things I was saying earlier. She tried to stay far away from that bit. And when questioned about things like Ray Fisher or the Zack Snyder cut, she was like, well, these are one-off, like, isolated things. There will no longer be any more single vision brought to screen, because while the rest of us thought the Zack Snyder cut was amazing,
pretty cool,
DC Warner Entertainment absolutely hate that was able to happen. And when questioned about the hashtag restore the Snyderverse, she said, that's not going to happen.
Move along.
Her exact words were, his trilogy is done. So instead of the Justice League trilogy had planned, they are saying Superman versus Batman, Justice League is his trilogy, and that's it. The end.
You know what's going to be really funny is if, like, DC grabs James Gunn from Marvel, and then Marvel grabs Zack Snyder from DC. Like, how hilarious would that be if they just start swapping spearheaders? I think that's gonna, and it has the entire possibility of somebody over at Buena Vista being like, you know what? Let's get Zack Snyder to do a Marvel movie and just make a thing about it. And a thing would be made about it. It would be the internet's like favorite topic for about 5 months.
Sure, but while we have all this news, which in that interview is where she announced the Peacemaker spinoff for Max, which she just refers to as Max, not HBO Max, just Max.
The Max.
Yeah, that's where she announced that there's going to be a lot more things of that nature. So while we got the news of that, we got the updated news on Black Adam. We got the Suicide Squad trailer. Something else. Big things are happening for DC Entertainment, movies and whatnot. However, there's some stuff going on there that Ray Fisher really wants you to know about. And we'll see how that goes, because, Warner's in a weird spot right now.
It is. Let's see. What else? Oh, McLean says Snyder X-Men. Honestly, I'd be here for a Snyder X-Men. That would be something I'd be.
Oh, Vern says he wants a Zack Snyder Judge Dredd.
Oh, I'd be here for that too.
Yeah, but Judge Dredd done how? Done like Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone, and you get a real mega city and a real Cursed Earth, and you get some cool stuff. Or like Dredd, where they're like, what if we put a Dredd helmet on the Raid?
Right. I mean, either one, they're both okay in their own ways. They were both okay in their own ways. I like them both.
There's one of them that I like
better. I know. But let's see. Shout outs on Facebook for Dave says, Bo, we need to reduce something. Yes, we do. We definitely do. Garrett, like the Moon Sheriff. That's.
Oh yeah.
You love you like Moon Sheriff Dredd.
Yeah, Moon Marshal Dredd is the coolest because he gets invited to the moon to be the marshal, because it's everyone's duty every so often to they get invited to be a marshal on the moon colony. Pretty cool.
Well, let's see. Speaking of movies that we need to stop talking about movies that don't exist. Let's talk about a movie that does exist that was in theaters right now. Jake went and saw the new film Nobody.
I did.
This film, of course, a lot of people have been talking about it. Same writer as John Wick, I believe, starring, of course, Bob Odenkirk. Most people know Bob Odenkirk from his comedic roles, most notably from as Saul from Better Call Saul. I mean, I grew up watching him on HBO's Mr. Show with Bob and David. Hilarious writer. I've always really liked Bob Odenkirk, but now seeing him in a more serious, somewhat action role seemed like a very unique twist.
Well, he was one of the producers on the movie too.
Well, he's been a producer for a long time.
Yeah.
He actually produces way more than he stars in, and it wasn't up until very recently, in the past decade or so, where he's been, acting. And I mean, Bob and David was a sketch comedy show, not necessarily doing a lot of acting. It was just like doing funny Saturday Night Live stuff. But he's always been a producer. But it's really interesting to see him jumping into this role. And yeah, I didn't get a chance to see it because I had a really busy weekend. But Jake, I'm gonna let you drive on this one.
Yeah,
man.
well, I mean, like I said, it's Bob Odenkirk, who's generally known for comedic roles or somewhat more lighthearted roles, even if he is like a bit of a butthole in them, like his part in How I Met Your Mother, where he played like a boss who was just terrible, but it's done in a very John Wick style, to the point where it's basically John Wick if his wife had lived like another 10 or 15 years and they were able to establish like a family, and he was able to settle into that family life before getting recalled into it. Basically kind of same premise. He is some sort of untold specialist. He's an auditor, right? He's the guy that if someone in the CIA, FBI, whatever are messing up, he's the one sent after them. Total black ops.
So he's got a set of skills.
All of his files are redacted, kind of a thing. And his house is broken into one night, and
starting to sound familiar.
He just kind of lets it slide. He lets them take whatever they need to take,
and then they kill his dog.
No.
Okay.
But he
and his wife has cancer.
No. Kind of like the accountant a little bit, Vince. But then his daughter's like, "Hey, where's my bracelet?" And he's like, that's it. Because he'd kind of been like...
The daughter's bracelet.
Yeah, he's like, I hate that they took my watch, that they broke in my house, they punched my kid in the face. But his kid's a butthole, so he was like,
he
okay.
kind of... It's a life lesson. It's
right,
a life
right.
lesson.
Yeah, and so he's just like way chill about it. He doesn't want people knowing how he is, But then the daughter's like, they took my bracelet. And he's like, that's it, last straw.
Well, and I guess the bracelet was important. Yeah,
no, it's just, it's the last straw. And that's the whole thing. It's not important. But it's important to him because it's the last thing that just pushes him over the edge of like, I'm going back into it.
The straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, because him and his wife are starting to be estranged. His teenage kid hates him. His daughter's the only one that likes him in any capacity. She's a child. And as soon as she's like, hey, they didn't steal that, did they? He's like, son of a bitch, they did. I'm getting it back. And so he goes to get it. And then he finds out they're poor, and he just kind of gives up. And on the way home, Russian mafia guys, of course. They invade the bus he's riding, and he beats them up. And then he's brought back into it because there's a connection to a bigger mob that's like, we're going to get this guy type thing. And then action ensues. But what gets brought into this is that he's from a family of these type of people where his dad is Christopher Lloyd, and his brother is RZA.
Great Scott!
Yeah, and from there you find out there's a whole family of these just like killer dudes. And his father-in-law is Michael Ironside.
What?
Yeah, like friggin' Darkseid from DC Universe. Is his father-in-law, but he just makes it his goal to take down these guys because they come in and they attack his family at his home, and he's like, nope, not gonna happen. I'm gonna take them all down. And it's very John Wick, but not to the point of where he's some immortal person like Wick is, some
a Baba Yaga.
Yeah, some untouchable super person that you whisper their name and everyone's like, no, I can't. But he's also marked in that way where people that know, they're like, hey, don't mess with this guy. And when those scenes happen, you're like, what did he do? Like, how badass is he? But then you see him fight and he's been out of it for so long. So he is vulnerable, but he has enough skills to like kind of keep him alive. And it makes.
So how does Bob Odenkirk stand up? Because he's not a physical guy. You
would have never thought of him as a comedic actor when you watch this movie.
I mean, because the thing that made John Wick so cool is Keanu Reeves did a lot of his own stunts, and he trained and he did all the stuff. But Bob Odenkirk, I just don't see Bob Odenkirk.
If he's not doing his own stunts, you wouldn't believe that it wasn't him doing them.
Right
on.
What I'm saying? Very interesting.
It works, and he's like that very dad type person, and it fits the role of him being like, all he really wants is to have a family life, and he gets brought back in the world he doesn't want to be into. And he does whatever it takes to be able to have that family life again without interference. And it's only 90 minutes, and it's a lot of fun.
Vince said that Bob Odenkirk trained for 2 years and did all of his own fighting. So, wow, look at that.
Yeah, there you go. See,
Didn't realize that one. That's pretty cool.
Vince said that he heard Bob Odenkirk's great, but the writing in The Big Bad is very ho-hum. Yeah, I mean, I think that's just because you've seen it before enough times already.
That's the thing about a lot of these movies. There's only so many ideas that we can create anew.
It's the same big city Russian mafia movie that you've seen every time. There's one with Jason Statham. There's one with Dave Bautista. There's 3 with Keanu Reeves now.
Mm-hmm.
That the movies out there, it already exists. But this is a different perspective on that type of thing. Someone of a different age group, someone that's not an active guy that gets brought back in, further removed than what John Wick is. Yeah, exactly. And Bob Odenkirk really kind of fills that role and makes that
better
work.
than Liam Neeson.
No, Taken is sick. There's nothing better than the first Taken. It's so good.
Okay.
Dude, they took his daughter and he's getting her back.
Yeah, but Bob Odenkirk, they took his daughter's bracelet.
No, turns out it was hey, that's part of the movie.
Plot twist.
And that was just the thieves at the beginning. These Russian guys have nothing to do with the bracelet. It's worth the 90 minutes. It's an hour and a half long.
Good. That's perfect runtime. 88 to 90 minutes. I think movies need to try and get back to that point.
Despite whatever the villain is or what the writing is, it's very well paced. It keeps you involved. There's action with a little bit of comedy sprinkled in, not like laugh out loud comedy, but enough to take you out of whatever is going on in the movie, and it keeps you entertained. And Christopher Lloyd is great in it.
Well, it's Christopher Lloyd, man.
Yeah, and RZA is not over the top RZA. It's not like Man with Iron Hands. It's a very toned down, easy to digest RZA, which is good because a lot of time they put him in a movie and he's just
they're
RZA.
Like, can we get a little of that Wu-Tang flavor in here?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm the RZA.
Yeah, and he just like takes off the lid and accidentally dumps the whole thing instead of just getting
just a taste, a little taste.
But true to Wu-Tang, he ain't nothing to fuck with. So.
No, the RZA is not. The RZA, a very talented gentleman. Johnny Dalton on the YouTube says comedic actors can do really well in serious roles like John Lovitz in Southland Tales. John Lovitz is
great in everything.
I was about to say John Lovitz period is pretty good. But one of my favorite references of people that have pigeonholed a comedic actor into only comedic roles, doing a very dramatic role and nailing it, is 1 Hour Photo with Robin Williams. Like, that is a movie everyone's like, oh, I love Robin Williams, and then they watch this movie and they go,
well, but there's
that's
also
not what I wanted to see, and I love it.
There's Father of the Year with Robin Williams.
Yeah, Father of the Year. But that's still a bit of a comedy.
What Dreams May Come.
That's a dark comedy. Was Father of the Year, and What Dreams?
Yeah, What Dreams May Come is not.
It's not. Yeah.
What was that movie where he ran for president? That one's a pretty serious movie.
About that one, but 1 Hour Photo. He's a freaking weird creepo, like
Toys.
That was still kind of a. I mean, he was still kind of a comedic role.
Bicentennial Man.
He was a robot. He's kind of a comedic role, and I mean, he's beep bop boop. Anyway, Dead Poets. That was the movie. Yeah, that's
How You Like Them Apples. Bruh, what was that movie? Where he's the teacher. The Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Robin Williams did lots of serious roles.
Well, later in his career, yes. Like. from going to stand-up comedy to lots of comedies.
Patch Adams.
That's a comedy.
That's a dark comedy.
Yeah, because kids die.
Patch dies.
Well, yeah, that too.
Spoiler.
But, let's see. Oh, speaking of serious Robin Williams on the internet, everybody's been lately talking about, which Vern just mentioned over in the comments. He wants to see this R-rated version of Miss Doubtfire. I've been telling you, Miss Doubtfire is a dark story now.
Yeah, from
I've been
all
saying
the cuts
this
that they had to make because Robin Williams would just go off.
I have been saying this from the get-go that Miss Doubtfire could be a really twisted, dark movie.
Well, it would if they would have followed Robin Williams when they weren't actually on set, because there's that story where there was a sex shop that he would go to all the time and act like he was buying crazy dildos in the Miss Doubtfire makeup and doing the voice just to mess with people.
Oh my God, it's so amazing. So amazing. Pouring one out for Robin Williams.
Now, the other part of that story is that the person behind the counter recognized him and referred to him as Mr. Williams and totally threw him off. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. But anyway, Nobody in theaters right now. You can check it out. It's probably playing at a theater near you. It did get the, I believe it took the number one box office.
7.6 million for the weekend.
Yeah, I don't have my
big money.
Don't have my digits pulled up here. Let me pull up my digits for the weekend. Oh, geez, I don't have them. Here we go. Yep. It was the number one movie, just about $7 million, followed by number 2, and the Last Dragon, pulling in another 3.7. So far, all about $29 million it's pulled in. Tom and Jerry sitting there at $37 million somehow it pulled in at the box office domestically. I don't know how it managed to do that. And then number 4, Chaos Walking with 11.4. All those are pretty new movies, hitting. It's the 4 newest movies that have been out in a while since The Courier.
That one's new too.
That one is new. That's the new one with old everybody's
Benedict
favorite
Cumberbatch.
Cumberbatch. But we're getting new movies, man, and it's slowly coming out. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this ramps up. This box office is still very small. We don't have any big heavy hitters. When the number one movie's less than $7 million this weekend, it's pretty small. But baby steps.
Johnny asked where Box Trolls is. Who remembers that movie?
I do. I liked that movie. It was okay. It was the
because it's claymation. It's claymation.
Yes, it was the weakest of Laika's Studios movies that they put out, but it had some good moments. I thought it was okay. But anything that's stop motion claymation. Not a lot of studios do that anymore. They'll make CGI look like stop motion, and it's not. But Laika Studios is one of the only, I think, North American studios really focusing only on stop motion. There's the UK studio that does all the Wallace and Gromit stuff. They're still working, but there's not a lot of stop motion studios out there. It's very labor intensive work. There's, we talked about Kubo and the 2 Strings because that was fantastic.
Very good. Yeah.
Paranorman's been on Netflix lately. It's fun. It was the one Pirates that I can't remember which studio did Pirates, but that one's really fun. If you haven't seen Pirates, we play Sea of Thieves enough that you should go revisit that because it's a lot of fun. That movie's pretty good.
Yeah, dude. Actually, you know what? I got the glitter beard the other day.
So is your beard glittered now?
No, I didn't equip it, but the point is I have it.
But you have it,
and it's like a touching thing that you can do. That's about one of their team members that passed away, and it takes 8 people playing instruments.
Okay, when you said a touching thing, I'm like, a touching thing.
Oh, and Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Hey, but you know what? Talking about things that aren't done often in films, I did watch another movie, a new release.
That's right. Yeah, because we only have about 10 or so minutes left.
Well, it won't even take that long.
Let's get in there.
It's called Crazy Samurai Musashi, or relabeled to Crazy Samurai 400 Verse 1. And it is a take on the fight between Miyamoto Musashi and the Yoshioka clan, their third and final fight, which, there's various different takes on how this went down. Most commonly that there were 70 people waiting to ambush and fight Musashi, and he destroyed their clan. In real life, it's assumed that he probably fought about 10 of them and then ran away or scared the rest of them off because they were set to ambush him with bows and pole arms and firearms as well as swords and things like this, whereas he himself was armed with 1 or 2 swords only. And famously, he would show up to duels late to throw people off of their game, so they'd get tired and frustrated.
Sorry, I had a thing.
Yeah, they'd get tired and frustrated and upset, and he'd show up calm and having been rested up,
slice.
and then fight them. But in this duel, the third one, he showed up early and probably only fought about 10 people max. But this movie decided to take it the other direction and have him fight 400 sword-armed samurai and Ronin mercenary guys.
It's a lot of dudes.
It's a lot. And there is a small line in the movie where he goes, I was expecting more like 70 people. How many do they have? Yeah. But the thing is, there's 2 scripted segments in the movie. The opening and the ending, which are filmed and pretty good. They're like a normal Jidaigeki samurai movie with some decent action, good shots, sound effects, acting, all that stuff. But the majority of the movie that sits right between it is a 77-minute one-take shot.
Whoa, that's a big one.
It's filmed in 77 minutes. A single shot. The camera never stops running. There's no cuts.
What?
No
I'm going to have
takes.
to look into that. That's
Look
a
into it.
long-ass time.
It is. And it shows. It's not a great movie. The beginning and ending, not bad.
But the 77-minute middle.
The 77-minute primary part of the movie that has very few spoken words, very little going into it. Yeah, we got to wrap it up with my foreign film corner here. But it's the choreography could have been a lot better. Obviously, the costume and makeup could have been a lot better. You can tell when the guys are recycled, and everybody runs up to him, arms raised.
Well, that's a samurai movie, man. That's how they do it.
No.
They go, ah!
You
like this.
No, the whole thing is these are supposed to be trained samurai of this special
Have
clan.
you ever seen an Akira Kurosawa movie?
Shut the mouth. I'm trying to tell you what it looks like. These guys come up and they specifically run and they get to where they should swing and they just don't because they're waiting for him to hit them. He goes tink, tink, tink the whole time, right? And it's awful. It's very bad. It's terrible. But the actor, Tak Sakaguchi, who's been in a lot of movies, if you've watched a lot of Japanese movies, you've probably seen him. And
yeah,
just
if you've seen any, he's a face you'll
the
recognize.
Sakigake Otokojuku live action movie. He plays the main character.
If you've seen that.
Yeah, if you've seen it. But he's obviously working his ass off. He's sweating. He's doing everything he can to.
77 minutes.
Yeah, this for real.
It's a long time.
To keep it up and fight all these people and make it look real and believable as best he can. But you have all these actors that are coming up attacking him. No one attacks him from behind. Not more than one person. They all run, and as soon as they get hit, they'll get tapped on their shoulder or hit in their calf or knee or something,
like boffing swords.
Yeah,
like
and then they do this and
LARPers,
and they run off screen
like
and,
Power Ranger bad guys.
Yeah, they all take their turn. They all take their obvious turn, and then they get tagged, and then they run away. And everyone does the same thing. They go, and then they give up their acting, and they just kind of run off because, like, well, I have to get off camera so we can hit the next person. And it goes on for 77 minutes of just constant, like, there's every now and then he'll take a water break. And
all the while it's playing yakety sax.
Oh, I wish. That. Yeah, that'd be really good. There's a couple of times where they bring in characters and little elements, and it doesn't do anything to help. It's definitely not the easiest thing to sit through, despite the fact that I really like Jidaigeki. But the beginning and ending are fun. The idea that Musashi could take on 400 people is a novel idea. The idea he could take on 70 people
is pretty novel.
Is a pretty interesting idea. Done best in the Vagabond manga, if you've ever seen that, by Takehiko Inoue. Very good. But in reality, it just doesn't work. But It's out there. It's a movie. You can buy it for $12 to $15. Rent it for $5. If you just want to see a 77-minute
Fight scene,
single take fight scene, then yeah.
These comments, you guys.
Wow.
These comments. No comment on these comments. Vince coming in with some fire. Johnny Dalton over there. Lightning Bolt. If you've never seen the documentary Dark On, it's about LARPing. It's a really good documentary.
That kid
it's a lot
has
of fun.
his satchel full of ping pong balls. Lightning bolt.
Fireball!
Lightning bolt.
Fireball. Yeah, it's a pretty good documentary. It's the most fun you'll ever have thinking about LARPing.
No, that's not true. What's the movie with Sean William Scott? And
it's bad kids or bad role models.
yeah,
because they all dress up like Kiss at the end.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd. It's one of the greatest Paul Rudd scenes ever, where he goes into a Starbucks and he says he goes, "I'd like a large coffee," and she's like, "Excuse me, what?" And he goes, "A large coffee," and he goes, she's like, "Do you mean venti?" And he goes, "No, I mean large." And she goes, "Well, venti is large." And he's like, "No, venti means 20, and grande means large, and the other one means large." He goes, "Venti's the only one that doesn't mean large, so now you're stupid in 3 languages." And it's like such a good it's a good scene. Anyway, but yeah, that's our show. We're out of time. We got we're out of the times. The hog game is probably started, so people are doing that. I still got to go back to my place of business and get some stuff done. And you're probably going to actually have a busy night tonight. If people are going to come out to the bar and be watching this athletic competition. So there you go. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to always check us out on our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Subscribe. If you watch this show, subscribe. Click the like button. We don't spam you with a lot of stuff. It'll just let you know when we're live, and it makes us feel good about ourselves, and that we're doing this for a reason. So anyway, as always, I'm Bo, the boom operator.
And I'm Jake the Grip.
And we will see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.
See ya.